Jai, Tulsi Maharani ki Jai. We offer our most respectful obeisances unto all lifestyle devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned soul. Jai Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jaya Radhamat Ova Kunnabi Hare Jaya Radhamat Ova Kunnabi Hare Nopi Janabalaba Yidivadurati Nopi Janabalaba Yidivadurati Yasudanandana Brajajanarandana Yasudanandana Brajajanarandana Jamunatira Manachanti Yamunate Manachanti Jaya Radhamadhuva Kunnabi Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunnabi Hare Nopi Janamanaba Yidi Badadhari Nopi Janamanaba Yidi Badadhari Yasunanana Braja Janaranjana Yasunanana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Manachanti Niyamuna Tira Manachanti Jaya Radhu Madhuva Kunya Behanti Jaya Radhu Madhuva Kunya Behanti Madhuva Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya All Teta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturanam Ki Jai Jagadasami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Srimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samavela Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Shunyavadi Pashatrati Shatari. So we're reading from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 71st chapter, text 34. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasmen Susangula Ivasva Rata Advipadvi Krishnam Sabaryam Upalabhya Agrahadi Ruda Naryo Vikirya Kusumar Manaso Pakuya Su Swagatam Vidatur Utsmaya Avikshitena Tasmin Susangulagi Bashva Ratadvipadvi Krishnam Sabaryam Upalabhya Grahadi Ruda. Naryo Vikirya Kusumar Manasopakuya. Suswagatam Vidatutur Utsmayavik. So, Suswagatam Vidadur Utsmaya Vekshitena. Tasmen Susangula, excuse me. Tasmen Susangula Ibashvaratad Vitpadbi. Krishnam Sabaryam Upalabhya Grahadi Ruda. Naryo Vikirya Kusamar Manaso Pakuya. Suswagatam Vidadur Utsmaya Vikshitena. Tasmen Susangulak Ibashvaratad Vichadbi. Krishnam Subaryam Upalabhya Grahadi Ruda. Naryo Vikirya Kushamar Manaso Paguya. Suswagatam Vidadur Utsmaya Vikshitena. Okay. Tasmin on that road. Su very. Sankule crowded. Ibab with elephants. Ashfab horses. Ratab chariots. Dvipadbi and foot soldiers. Means the people with 2 feet. That's interesting. Dvipada. So Krishnam, Lord Krishna. Sabayam with his wives. Upalabhya catching sight. Catching sight of, yeah. Graha of the homes. Adiruda having climbed to the tops. Narya the women. Vikirya scattering. Kusumai flowers. Manasa in their minds. Upaguya embracing him. Suswagatam heartfelt welcome. Vidadu they gave him. Utsmaya broadly smiling. Vikshitena with their glances. So translation, the royal road being quite crowded with elephants, horses, chariots, and foot soldiers, the women climbed to the top of their houses, where they caught sight of Lord Krishna and his queens. The city ladies scattered flowers upon the Lord, embraced him in their minds, and expressed their heartfelt welcome with broadly smiling glances. You can repeat. The royal road being quite crowded with elephants, horses, chariots, and foot soldiers. The women climbed to the top of their houses, where they caught sight of Lord Krishna and his queens. The city ladies scattered flowers upon the Lord, embraced him in their minds, and expressed their heartfelt welcome with broadly smiling glances. So, purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Siddhar Swami comments that the ladies communicated through their affectionate glances their eager inquiries as to the comfort of Lord Krishna's trip, and so on. In other words, in their ecstasy, they intensely desired to serve the Lord. So I'm just going to read Jiva Goswami's short commentary. The women directly saw Krishna surrounded by elephants, etc., in profusion. Later, to see him clearly, they climbed on the roofs in order to sprinkle flowers, with their glances and excellent smiles indicating their attraction. Utsmaya. They welcomed him, seeming to say, "How are you?" in order to please him. The welcome took place by their intense glances. This is how Siddhar Swami explains it. Or welcoming can refer to general reception of a guest, or they welcomed him especially in order to reveal their sentiments. The Dod Hu. So again the verse. Tasmin susankupali bhashvarata dvipadvi Krishnam sabaryam upalabhya grahadi ruda naryo vikirya kusamar manasopaguya suswagatam vidadur utsmaya vikshitena. So Omagana Timiranda Shah Gadanjana Shlakya Chakshur Un Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So I'm going to read one verse from the Gopal Champu, which describes the same instance. So when Krishna entered Indraprastha, what to speak of everyone else, the women confined to the inner chambers gave up their shyness. Who then could maintain self-control by any means? And Srila Prabhupada comments in this regard in the Science of Self-Realization that this giving up things like one's shyness, and of course, obviously, the women in their minds must have given up their husbands too, because they were embracing Krishna in their minds. I mean, if a woman thinks of embracing another man in her mind, she's given up her chastity right there. Just like we have these rules from brahmachari life, because no more brahmacharis in this world, not too many. And a brahmachari, if he plans to associate with women, or if he thinks of it in his mind, or actually what to speak of doing it, there's a whole stream of things, a different list of things. He's actually broken the principles. It's interesting, isn't it? So it's very, very, brahmachari life, sannyas life is very strict. Just like you hear how Lord Chaitanya dealt with Junior Haridas. I mean, minor thing. Yeah, I mean, at least in my mind, it's pretty minor. I don't know how many times I begged for for pizza from different ladies. And, Lord Chaitanya rejected. So, of course, Prabhupada said we don't apply that same standard nowadays. So in any case, so as far as women are concerned, if she does that, she's given up her chastity. I mean, that's the women's power, potency. Because if a woman is chaste, I mean, we have to understand the Vedic culture. In the Vedic culture, the chastity of a woman was like practically the highest thing. She became so powerful she could stop the rising of the sun, like that story in the Markandeya Purana. She could do so many amazing, she could curse Krishna. Just like, isn't it? You had Gandhari in the Mahabharata. What did she do? She cursed Krishna. She cursed Krishna that his dynasty would self-destruct like her dynasty did. And Krishna, of course, said, thank you very much. That was his plan. She cursed Yudhisthira. Yudhisthira had beautiful toes before. Has anyone heard of the story? She looked at his toes. Now, of course, she didn't have glasses on, but I'm just emulating. And then his toes curled up and became ugly. So that's really how important that chastity. Of course, for us, I hadn't planned to talk yet on this, but anyway, I'll go there. Chastity to the spiritual master is extremely important. And of course, in the Krishna conscious movement, everyone should be chaste to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and his instructions, and his guidance, and his example. Nowadays, of course, oh my God, I didn't want to go there, but I'm going there anyway. Nowadays, of course, people are very sophisticated, and they pick and choose different verses from the different Vedic literatures. And actually, all Vedic literatures are good. But there's a lot of things. The primary number of Vedic literatures are meant, Trigunya Vishaya Veda, Nis Trigunya Bhavardhana, Nirdvandvo Nirsattvasto, Niryogakshema Atmavan, are mainly meant for people in the modes of nature. And some literatures are meant to attract ritualistic brahmanas. Prabhupada makes that comment about certain parts of the Hari Bhakti Vilas. He said that certain parts we don't apply. Like, my favorite one is, of course, eating carrots. That's one of my favorite, because I love carrots. They're good for my eyes. And why did Prabhupada use carrots, or eat carrots, or serve carrots, make carrot halva? So many carrot dishes, isn't it? Prabhupada was well aware of these injunctions. So people don't understand this principle of chastity to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. What Prabhupada wanted, Prabhupada's vision for expanding the movement, how Prabhupada wanted, oh my God, all his boys and girls. I told you I didn't want to go there, but somehow or other Krishna's make me go to this topic. How Prabhupada wanted that. Prabhupada had a vision for the whole world, how to adapt the details of Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of his spiritual master, so that the whole world would take up, tadvad, visargo, janataga viplavo, yasmin pratishlagma badavachapi, namananyantasha, yashoa nikatadiyat shrinvanti gayanti relanti yat sadava. As Prabhupada was fond of quoting, he said, these words are meant to create a revolution in the misdirected lives of an impious civilization. And Prabhupada, of course, talked about that, even if they're improperly composed. Of course, Prabhupada here was referring to grammatically, spelling, punctuation, stuff like that. So anyway, so being chaste to Prabhupada is essential for every member of the Krishna conscious movement, rather than thinking they know better than Prabhupada. And really, it's not just dealing with this present issue, which I'm not going to mention, but just make an indirect reference to, but it's also dealing with the issue of where the soul comes from. Actually, I was just reading the Brahma Samhita in the classes that I'm giving at night in the Brahma Samhita, where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur definitely states that the soul is eternal, the soul was not created by Mahavishnu, but the soul rests in Mahavishnu at the time of the cosmic dissolution, and then comes out. But the soul's origin is not Mahavishnu. He's very clear about this. So anyway, so it's a problem nowadays. People giving up, maybe not even giving up, maybe not having that chastity. Maybe that chastity is not stressed enough. I don't know. But it's essential. So in the Vedic system, getting back to this particular topic here, a woman's chastity was considered very, very, very important, supreme importance. So they actually started embracing this person, Krishna. And Prabhupada comments in this regard, not that it's a violation of Dharma. And actually, in Krishna consciousness, sometimes one has to violate ordinary Dharma. And of course, Krishna states this in the Gita, isn't it? 1866. Anyone know that verse? No. Nobody knows 1866 in Gita. Oh my God. No Bhakti Shastri, no Kanisha. Anyway, Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja Ham Tvam Sababebhyo Mokshya Shami Masucha. Actually, Krishna presents to Arjuna that you have to give up all the dharmas that are opposed to Krishna consciousness. And I'm not saying that ladies should become unchaste. That's really not the point. But really we have to give up anything. Of course, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks about that, isn't it? He says, accept everything favorable, reject everything, what? Unfavorable. As is principles of Sharanagati, which means surrender. And of course the other ones, I'm fond of accept, understand Krishna, will protect you. That's same thing is there in that verse, 1866 in the Gita, isn't it? Aham tvam sarvapabhebhyo. I'll protect you. Of course, Krishna's not going to protect you from nonsense. Like if you fall asleep while you're driving your car. Why didn't Krishna protect me? You know, you have to use your own brain too. So anyway, so aham tvam sarvapabhebhyo. I will protect you. Mokshayishyami. I'll free you. Don't worry. So, anyway, yeah, accept everything. Understand Krishna is always protecting one and maintaining one. And then the hardest one, for me at least, is being meek and humble. And then finally, having no separate interest other than the interest of the Lord. And Prabhupada comments, this is the point I'm getting to, in the Science of Self-Realization, I found this amazing quote, where Prabhupada says that if one becomes so attracted to Krishna that one is ready to renounce ordinary dharma, Prabhupada says, the quote, this is the beginning of pure devotion. First step. Because that doesn't mean that one's a pure devotee at that point. I'll read the quote, because it's really interesting. It was just that way with the gopis. As soon as they heard the sound of Krishna's flute, of course, they're already pure. They gave up everything. Some of them were lying down. Some were working in their family affairs. Some were taking care of their children. But as soon as they heard Krishna's flute, they forgot everything and rushed to him. Their husbands, their brothers, their fathers said, why are you going and leaving your duty? But they did not care. They simply left. There was no impediment and no stumbling block in that merge of the mind with Krishna. And then the phrase, this is the beginning of pure devotion. That's really interesting. Where one becomes attracted to Krishna in this particular way. The beginning of pure devotion. So, what that means, of course, another point. I wanted to touch upon a few more points. That's how we start Krishna consciousness. That we become attracted to Krishna, and we're ready to make sacrifices to become Krishna conscious, to be connected to Krishna. We're ready to renounce things. And this renunciation is based upon rasa varjam rasa pyasa panandrishtani vartate, having a higher taste or a higher attraction. And we see this principle of renunciation manifest by many, many devotees. Of course, one example I can think of is the wives of the Yajnik Brahmanas. There's another example of giving up the chastity. The Yajnik wives of the Yajnik Brahmanas, when they heard, not going to tell the whole story, when they heard Krishna and Balaram were hungry, they forgot everything. What to speak of giving up their chastity? They didn't even respond when their husband said, where are you going? It's one thing that they would make an excuse and say, oh, we're just going, we have to go to the river and purify ourselves or something like that. But they just ignored the guys. They just go, we're leaving. The hell with you. I mean, you have to understand the context, the Vedic culture there, the stress on chastity. I mean, if a woman does something like that, oh my God. Of course, there's no divorce, but, she'd be shamed. There's a lot of stress and reputation in Indian culture, shame. You left your husband to serve that guy, that blackish boy? What are you doing? And you wanted to stay with him? With Krishna. Can you imagine how much criticism they would have had in the Vedic culture? But they did that. So anyway, there's many, many examples people just dropped everything. Of course, I don't want to use the example. I will use the example of Bart Maharaj, who just like left what he considered to be an unfavorable situation. I know he fell down after some time, but gave it up like untouchable stools. He just, and that's a devotee, that's the beginning of pure devotion, where you just say, I have to be Krishna conscious. And that loyam, that utsaha, enthusiasm, like utsaha nisya daryat tat karma pavartanat, mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami, is the beginning. So that's one point from this verse. Another point that I thought important in this verse is that you have the statement that the ladies embraced him in their minds. I talked about chastity already. So this brings out the point that mental association is as factual as any other type. It's there. It's real association. One's associating with Krishna in the mind. We have this manaseva, mental service. So, of course, the typical example that Prabhupada gives in the Nectar of Devotion is the Brahmin who was serving Krishna by cooking sweet rice to offer to him, and he touched the sweet rice to see if it was cool enough, burnt his finger. Krishna was, Lord Narayan was laughing at him, took him back to Godhead. So that's a very important point for us, that we can actually serve and associate with Krishna. Of course, I'm not at the platform of embracing Krishna in my mind. I don't think I want to embrace Krishna. I'm scared. Anyway, but at least serving Krishna in some way, even if we're in an airplane flying somewhere, we can actually meditate like a yogi. I mean, not that we have to perform the Hatha Yoga process, but we can actually meditate in our minds on our service, on the deities, or look at a picture. Krishna is non-different from a picture. Prabhupada is non-different from the sound vibration. We can meditate on serving Prabhupada. We can meditate upon the devotees. I mean, it's very nice. So this manaseva is very important. And of course, as one advances in devotional service, and it's not for us at this point, or at least not for me, maybe for the rest of you, but as one advances in devotional service and enters into the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, then one actually directly serves Krishna, following in the footsteps of one of Krishna's eternal associates in the mind. And that's there. It's there. And of course, you get great pure devotees like Srinivasacharya, who was serving Krishna in meditation in his mind. And that service was so, I guess, intense that he was able to bring back ingredients from the spiritual world. It's real. You think of Krishna, it's real. So, how do we do that? Application. So, how do we do that? Well, first of all, we have this Sankirtan. Sankirtan means what? Congregational chanting also means absorbed chanting, complete chanting, Sankirtan. So how to be absorbed when we're chanting? Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives us some hints, depending on our level of advancement in devotional service in his Shikshashtaka. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tavapada pankaja stutta duli sadvasamba chintaya. O son of Nanda, you're pleading with Krishna. O son of Nanda Maharaj, I am your eternal servant. That means give up your upadi. Sarva upadi vinir muktam tatpadratvaina what is that? Nirmalam, Rishikeno, Rishikesha, Sevanam, Bhaktir, Uchate. Give up that upadi, what you are, man, woman. People are so fixed on these bodily designations, even to the point, oh my God, don't want to go there, but anyway, even to the point that people say, if you have a certain type of body, you cannot hope to become Krishna conscious in this lifetime. Right. All you can do is serve someone who is Krishna conscious. In next life, you take birth in their type of body. As ignorance. As bodily conception. It's defying Krishna's lesson in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, that is like Saruchi. Unless you are my son, you could never sit on the lap of your father. If you want to be my son, next birth, you could become my son by worshiping Lord Vishnu. Yeah, that was a consciousness. So people think, but Krishna consciousness is transcendental. So one has to give up the upadi. First step, I am your eternal servant. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, servant. Patitam Mam. And also you have to realize you're fallen. That's humility. If you think, I'm your servant, but I'm pretty elevated servant here. I'm good at philosophy. I'm very intelligent or whatever, sannyasi. That's also bodily Lord Chaitanya said, I'm not a grasa, I'm not a sannyasi. Gopi Bharta Padakamala Dasa 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 Dasa. I'm a spirit soul. Jivera Surupohoy Nitya Krishna Das, not man Surupohoy. Krishna Das. So we've become absorbed and develop a mood of intense hankering, loyum, which is the price of pure devotional service, and understand. Then we will come to the platform of renunciation. Of course, renunciation for us doesn't mean like Bart Maharaj just dropping our whole family off and running to the forest and falling in love with a deer. That wouldn't be too appropriate. Or just like I was going around Govardhan and I fell in love with the Nilgau, which is the blue cows. We were so fortunate. They actually came up to us this time. Wow. It was just like, oh my God, we could feed them. Somehow they're becoming bolder. And I was thinking, oh, it's so beautiful. I mean, of course, at Govardhan, I guess you can fall in love with a deer at Not really. No, you shouldn't. Because Bart Maharaj was in a holy place. So we don't want to engage in false renunciation. Just like the class that was given the other day by Raghunath, that we have to remember proper renunciation. What is proper renunciation? Of course, there's the two verses by Rupa Goswami, Anashakshtaksha Vishyan Yatarpo Yanjata Krishna Nir Sambhadna Nirvande Yukavai Ragam Uchate, that we should connect everything and use everything in Krishna's service, and we should understand Prapancha Katya Puja Harisambandha Vashna Mamukshabi Purityagi Valgu Vairagyam Uchate, that we shouldn't renounce anything that can be used in Krishna's service, but at the same time we have to understand our own situation, or how advanced we are in devotional service, and how much we can engage in devotional service, and how much we can renounce without falling down. Now, Bharat Maharaj, his renunciation was appropriate, but he was inattentive. But many times we find people renouncing, but their renunciation is not appropriate for their level of spiritual advancement. So it's important to understand that. And then I take shelter in this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, 6:17. yuktahara viharasya. That one should be moderate. Yukta chetasa karmasu, yukta swapta, vabodasya yoga bhavati dukkha. We should be regulated in the habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work, and can mitigate all pains by practicing the yoga system. In this way, we can be stable in Krishna consciousness. And of course, in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada makes that point that one should recognize, the story of Gajendra Mokshana, one should recognize one's situation in Krishna consciousness and engage in appropriate renunciation. There, Prabhupada is talking about the different ashrams, but appropriate renunciation, and even within an ashram, how much you should renounce this world and how much you should accept to keep yourself steady in Krishna consciousness. Anyway, so these are some of the points. So we have to end. It's time. It is time to greet the deities. Thank you very much. All glories to His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Asyan Dipan Dikayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala
Amore, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Daya Koramore, Toma Bina Ke Dayalu, Jagat Samsare, Toma Bina Ke Dayalu, Jagat Samsare, Patita Pavana Hetu, Tava Avatara, Patita Pavana Hetu, Tava Avatara, Mosamo Patita Prabhu, Napai Beara, Mosamadhatita Prabhu, Napai Beara, Ha Ha Prabhu Nityananda, Premananda Sukhi, 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 Kripa Balokana Koro Ami Boroduki, Kripa Balokana Koro Ami Boroduki, Doya Koro Sita Hati, Advaita Gosai, Ora Sita Pati, Advaita Gosai, Tava Kripa Bale Pai, Chaitanya Nitai, Kripa Bale Pai, Chaitanya Nitai, Tava Kripa Bale Pai, Chaitanya Nitai, Tava Kripa Bale Pai, Chaitanya Nitai, Aha Swarup Sanatana, Rupa Raghunath, Aha Swarup Sanatana, Rupa Raghunath, Bhatta Yuga Sri Jiva Prabhu Lokanath, Bhatta Yuga Sri Jiva Prabhu Lokanath, Doya Koro Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas, Doya Koro Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas, Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamoddas, Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamoddas, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Doya Koramore, Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koramore Doma Bina Kedayalu Jagat Samsare Doma Bina Kedayalu Jagat Samsare Jaya Gornitai, 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 Haribo, Haribo. Haribo Nitai Gaur, Haribo Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo Nitai Gaur, Haribo Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo. Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radha Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Gananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai. My dear Lord, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your Lordship within these three worlds? Your incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls, but I assure you that you will not find a more fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim is first. My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you will always appear happy, very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. It is if you kindly put your glance over me, I may also become happy. My dear Advaita Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be kind to me. If you are kind to me, naturally Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me. I pray for the mercy of Swarup Damodar, the 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Gopal Gamata Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, and Lokanath Prabhu. I, Narottam Das, pray to the merciful Srinivasacharya, and I always desire the company of Ramachandra Chakravarti. That's his best friend. Okay, there's a Harinam Sankirtan this Saturday, starting at 11:30, we're going to meet in Gold Park, and we're going to do Nagar Sankirtan up the river walk over to Weaver Street Market, and there we'll do, we'll chant for a while, and then we'll Nagar Sankirtan ourselves back to Gold Park. It's going to be a sunny day. Everybody's going to be out there walking, taking their babies and their dogs and their jogs and wherever else they do there, and they'll see us as we give everybody a chance to hear the holy names. So, Haribo. Okay. Chaito Darpanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Paramijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakarmi Bhagavadgita Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitan. Thank you for addressing deities. Etadrishi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Anuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadaram Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamae Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Budao Kripayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Gadashu Daraya Vadanam Gad Gadarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabhukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahena Me Ashlishava Padamritam Anastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatatava Vidadatu Lampato Mat Prananatastusa Evanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy name, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death